attracted very little attention. Even in M. Maclaren's otherwise very detailed monograph on these texts, they are passed over in silence. And that's too bad, because it's a very nice group of texts. Can be divided into two groups of 4, short text and text of double length, but that's not of major concern here. One of the texts deals with the birth and use of Judge Bao. And Judge Bao turns out to be somewhat different from what you expected. You may have wondered why he is always black on Peking opera stage. Well, he's a farm boy. He's gay because he is sunburned. And his low background continues to haunt him through his later career in these texts. Second thing, he is extremely ugly. He has 3-cornered pupils, and he has 3 eyebrows above each eye. And so the first thing his father says when he sees the baby is, "Drown that monster." And it's only the intervention of his sister-in-law, the wife of his elder brother, who saves him. She says, "Well, give him to me. I'll raise him." This goes back to the complicated history of the Judge Bao family, because in actual life it was the son of a maid which had been impregnated by Baogong, who was saved by his daughter-in-law after the maid had been kicked out of the house. And this became the only surviving heir of the Bao family, because the son of the main wife and his adopted son both died at a relatively early age. So there is a historical basis to this story, but it's all very mixed up. And so the story shows Judge Bao in his ugliness as related to very other ugly demon catchers in Chinese literature, like Zhong Kui. Anybody here from Taiwan? From southern Taiwan? Ever seen the dance of Zhong Kui, the puppet player? I mean, Zhong Kui passes the exams and commits suicide because he is so ugly. But there's a link, a family link between Zhong Kui and Judge Bao in the early versions of his legend in their ugliness. And also he has very much the character of a trickster. Somebody who pulls stupid jokes on people. And that comes back very much also in the other story. So there's one story on his youth, his early career, passing the exams, becoming an official for the first time, and losing his job. Then the second text deals with the famous episode, which is also well known from Yuan drama, of Judge Bao selling rice in Chenzhou. That is the famous case where Judge Bao punishes relatives of the emperor, and then on his way back he runs into an old, this is the third text, into an old beggar woman. Her ugliness, her smelliness, everything is described in great detail in this text. This old woman who claims to be the birth mother of the emperor. And Judge Bao takes her back home to the capital, and yes, establish the truth that the emperor, as a little baby, has been switched for another baby, etc., etc. Once Judge Bao has dealt with all these criminals in the world of men, the fourth text shows us that he can also deal with supernatural powers, because in that text Judge Bao kills off a white weird tiger, a tiger who can take on the shape of a beautiful girl. She marries a student on his way to the exams. When she comes to the capital and a Taoist priest sees through her disguise, she kills and eats most of the Taoist priest. Her hope is that her husband will pass the exam, become an official, and that she then can kill and eat all of the population of the district where he will be appointed. But after she has killed the Taoist, she has to flee, and eventually Judge Bao punishes her, sees through her disguise. The student, this motive of a student traveling to the exam and running into trouble, is an element which we find back in 3 more of these texts. One is the case of the Blackbeard Pot, where a student travels to the examinations and halfway is killed by 2 evil potters who take his body into the kiln and burn it completely, so nothing is left. So it's a murder case without a body. But fortunately the soul has been transfixed into one of the pots they make. It's an ugly pot, so they give it away, and the pot starts to talk, scaring the wits out of the old woman who uses the pot as a chamber pot. And that sets it all in case. The third case is another case of a student traveling to the exams. Is a case of the student who is captured by a bandit who is going to cut him open so he can eat his liver and heart as a little snack with his wine, but he is called away just in time, and as he is, as a kind of Saint Sebastian, this young man in undress is hanging there. The daughter of the bandit king passes by, falls in love with him. Her parent goes off on a trip. She forces the boy to marry her. She gives him precious, miraculous magic objects, and he takes them with her. They are stolen by the innkeeper, etc., etc. So again, in the 4th story, which features the student brings along his wife, managed to get to the capital, but once in the capital, one of the emperor's brothers-in-law falls in love, takes a fancy to that wife, kills off her husband, and that is another case in which eventually justice has to be seen. And the final case is again a murder most fall over a woman, but in this case the criminal is not a brother-in-law of the emperor, but a brother, a younger brother of the emperor himself, who abducts a woman and then not just kills her husband and her son, but kills the whole family, 120 people. So that is this body of text. In general, I think from a literary standpoint, most of the texts are written quite well. And they all have the quite distinct atmosphere. So the story of Runzung recognizing his mother has a kind of Gothic atmosphere with crimes in the inner recesses of the palace, nighttime enactments of hell scenes in order to scare the wits out of the master criminal. The story about Zhang Wenkui, the student who is married by this daughter of the bandit king, reads foremost like a fairy tale. Some of the texts pay quite some attention to characterization, etc. So many of these texts are written quite well. Now, what would I like to say about these texts? First is the problem of date. When were these texts